In a quiet American town, a humble mechanic helped a woman fix her broken leg, asking for nothing in return. But 1 month later, his life changed in ways he could never imagine. Let's get started. In a quiet small town in the Midwest, 25-year-old Jake Miller lived a simple and hard-working life. He owned a tiny auto repair garage on the edge of town, surrounded by wheat fields and rusted cars waiting for new life. Every morning he woke before sunrise, fixed engines, changed tires, and worked until his hands were covered in grease. He had no fancy equipment, only a few old tools left by his late father. Yet Jake had something rare, an honest heart. He often repaired old cars for elderly customers who couldn't pay much, sometimes even for free. To him, kindness was worth more than money. But deep down, he dreamed of something bigger, a chance to prove his skill to the world, though life never seemed to give him that break. One warm afternoon, as Jake was closing the garage, he heard a faint sound of an engine struggling. A shiny black SUV pulled up, its tires screeching slightly as it stopped. From the driver's seat stepped out a woman in her early 30s, dressed elegantly but walking with a visible limp. Jake noticed her prosthetic leg seemed stuck at the joint, making each step painful. She introduced herself softly as Emily, explaining that the mechanism had jammed and needed adjustment. Jake quickly realized it wasn't a simple fix. The joint was delicate and expensive to repair. Emily admitted she was far from home and didn't have enough money with her for such work. Jake didn't think twice. "Don't worry," he said kindly. "Let me take a look. I'll fix it for free." Emily was taken aback. She wasn't used to such selfless offers. Jake cleared a small space on his workbench, laid out his worn tools, and began working carefully. The precision of his hands was surprising. He handled the metallic joint as if it were a piece of art. Hours passed, and sweat dripped from his forehead. But Jake didn't stop until he restored smooth motion to the prosthetic. When Emily tested it, she could walk naturally again for the first time in weeks. Tears welled up in her eyes as she looked at him. "You don't even know me," she said softly, "and you helped me without asking for anything." Jake smiled humbly. "Sometimes people just need a little help, that's all." As the evening sun dipped below the horizon, Emily thanked him again, her voice trembling with emotion. She asked for his name and the name of his shop before leaving, but Jake simply waved it off, saying, "It's not important, just take care of yourself." He watched her drive away, never realizing who she really was. To him, she was just a stranger who needed help, and he was happy to offer it. But fate had already begun weaving something extraordinary behind the scenes, something that would soon transform the poor mechanic's life. Forever. A month passed since that quiet evening in Jake's workshop. Life went on as usual, fixing cars, helping locals, and counting every dollar to keep the lights on. He never thought again about the elegant woman he had helped. To him, it was just another good deed in a long line of small kindnesses. One morning, as he cleaned his workbench, a sleek black envelope arrived by courier. It had his name written in silver ink. Inside was an invitation to a grand business gala in New York City, along with a first-class train ticket. Jake was confused. Who would invite a small-town mechanic to such an event? After days of hesitation, curiosity got the better of him. When Jake arrived in the city, everything felt overwhelming. The towering skyscrapers, glittering lights, and luxury cars outside the hotel made him feel completely out of place. He wore his best, a simple white shirt, black pants, and his old leather boots. As he entered the ballroom, people in suits and gowns turned to look at him, whispering softly. He tried to stay near the back unnoticed until he heard a familiar voice on stage. He froze. It was Emily. Dressed in a stunning silver gown, she spoke confidently to the crowd, her prosthetic leg glinting under the spotlight. Jake could hardly believe his eyes. The woman he helped was standing there like a queen. Emily began telling her story, not about business or success, but about kindness. She spoke about a young mechanic in a small town who repaired her prosthetic leg for free when she needed it most. The audience listened in silence. Then she smiled and said, "That mechanic is here tonight." Jake's heart skipped a beat as everyone turned toward him. He felt a mix of shock and fear, but Emily gestured for him to come forward. Applause erupted as Jake slowly walked to the stage, his hands trembling. Emily looked at him with gratitude shining in her eyes. "Jake," she said softly, "I never told you who I really was. My name is Emily Carson, CEO of Carson Medical Technologies." The crowd gasped. Emily continued, "The company that makes prosthetics like mine was built from nothing, just like your small garage. But you reminded me that the world still has people who care more about others than profit." Then she held out a small box and handed Jake a set of keys. "These belong to your new auto workshop," she said. "Fully equipped, owned by you, a gift from me." Jake's eyes filled with tears. The room erupted with applause again as Emily hugged him. He could barely speak, overwhelmed by emotion. That night, Jake realized his act of kindness had changed not only Emily's life, but his own. The poor mechanic who once struggled to survive was now the owner of a dream garage in the city. News of his story spread across the country, a tale of compassion, humility, and the power of doing good without expecting anything in return.